What's up, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. I'm back with another video, and this video actually that quite a few people have been requesting and mentioning if I could just talk about it. I'm going to try and do a three-parter because I think this topic doesn't really have a set time limit, and I think that I won't be able to cover everything in a relatively short amount of time. So today's video, what I'm going to talk about is dating in Brazil, so specifically Rio de Janeiro. But I think my experience will come in handy because I had dated some girls who weren't in Rio de Janeiro as well. So I have quite an extensive knowledge, I guess, about how to date girls. And keep this in mind, everyone's experience is different, so my experience may not be the same as your experience if you've dated a Brazilian girl or you've dated somebody here specifically in Brazil. So this is just going based on what I think works and what you could probably apply if you so choose to date somebody who is from Brazil. So let's get right to it. So I'm going to talk about basically the difference between Brazilian women and North American, specifically Canadian, because I've never dated a American woman. So, but I'm guessing that American women and Canadian women are somewhat similar because of cultural similarities. But I think, and this is my humble opinion, dating a Brazilian girl is so much more easier and so much less bullshit and less baggage and less things like that. I don't find there's the whole runaround situation. You don't have to keep thinking, what's she thinking now? You can just be yourself. I find that I can't go back to dating Canadian women or almost any other culture for that matter. Not to say that I wouldn't, if the opportunity arose, I wouldn't give it a shot, or I wouldn't, you know what I mean? But choosing, I would definitely go with a Brazilian girl, and hands down. It's a no-brainer in my opinion, for many reasons. I'll give you an example. I dated a girl, let's say, I think it was 5 years ago. I wasn't living in Brazil at the time. I was merely passing through. This girl I met online before my trip, so which ties into my next point actually. So I met this girl online, and it was really easy to talk to them, and you could sort of tell that they weren't interested in if you have money or things like that. Sure, there are going to be girls who are interested in you because you're from a first world country, right? So, but I could tell, after chatting, and this is months before I was coming on my trip. And I wasn't looking for anything serious, and I made that very clear. And she was still willing to hang out and see what I was about, and go out for drinks and things like that. So there's that whole relaxed type of no commitment pressure. You could probably relate to this if you're dating somebody right now in your home country, and you've dated a Brazilian. The difference in not feeling the pressure of having to, is she going to want to make it serious? Or so there is. I'm not saying that there's girls here in Brazil who don't want that, but I'm merely saying if you're upfront right away, they're not going to automatically say, okay, I don't want to see you. The likelihood is that they'll want to hang out with you still and make a friendship or something like that. They're very, very open when it comes to making new friends, getting to know people, chatting. It's so much more dynamic, I would say is the word. It's more dynamic. Whereas in North America, from my experience, it's kind of like, what are you looking for exactly? Are you looking for something serious right now? I'm looking for something serious. And that's fine. People want something serious. I'm not against that at all. But I find that if you're upfront with a Canadian girl, if you're like, well, I'm just sort of dating, the likelihood of her wanting to hang out with you or make friends or chat, probably not going to happen. She's going to think that you're just wanting to sleep with her, and that's it. If that's the case, be upfront. I always say honesty is the best policy when it comes to dating, um, especially here in Brazil. I find that I've never been like rejected, so to speak. It's sort of kind of like, well, let's talk and see what happens, and it tends to be more like that. So I chatted with this girl for a long time. She was from Rio. She even met me at the airport. It was really nice. And I did like her, but I wasn't really, like I said, I wasn't looking for something serious. But we spent, a week, I think, together, something like that. I think I was in Rio for a month and a half, if I'm not mistaken, 6 weeks, something like that. But we spent like a good week together and things like that. There's many reasons why I wasn't looking for something serious at that point. That was 5 years ago. Now it's 5 years ago because it was 2017. But she was really cool about it. Obviously, she was disappointed after getting to know me because I wasn't looking for something serious, because she really, really liked me. One of the reasons why I wasn't looking for something serious is I was still kind of grieving the loss of my mother, but that's a whole other thing. So she kind of understood that, and there was other reasons. I'm not looking for a girl who has kids, and she had a child. I'm not the type of guy who wants to be, a father figure to someone else's child. You could hate on me all you want, but that's just my personal preference. So that's another reason why I wasn't looking for a relationship with her at that moment. So another reason why dating in Brazil is so much easier and less complicated is that you can literally cold approach a woman here, so long as you're a nice guy and you're not a dick about it, and they'll talk to you. They'll give you the time of day. They might even be interested in hanging out going for a coffee or something like that, getting their number. It's just you don't have those runaround games and those head games and things like that, or the rudeness. I find that I'll go with Canadian girls, and not all Canadian girls. So if someone who's from Canada is watching, don't take offense to this, but this is my experience. They'll basically shoot you down or not even give you the time of day. And they say that Canadian people are the nicest. I have to disagree when it comes to the whole dating thing. I think that girls in Canada are, let's say in Toronto, are so much more stuck up and less approachable. I don't know why that is. I think that's just maybe because they've had bad experiences from a lot of dicks in their past. I'm not sure. Jackasses. I can't really say. But I try to go with the approach that I'm not going to judge this person based on my previous experiences. This is a whole different person. But try telling them that. So I think it's a lot easier to approach women here in Brazil. And I think that goes for almost any state. I think that goes for culturally. I think that's definitely a huge difference between U.S., Canada, and Brazil. I think here it's just as long as you're how would you say, you look decently dressed, you're not rude, you're not vulgar with her or whatever, you have some manners, and speaking some Portuguese would definitely go a long way. You could be set, and I really don't see how guys coming from the U.S. or Canada or whatever couldn't hook up with somebody, couldn't meet somebody. It's just, and I'm not exaggerating, it's just that much more easier and less pressure on us to approach somebody. I don't feel like, if I was single, for example, because I'm not single, I don't know if many of you know that, right at this moment I'm in a relationship, but if I was single, I'd have no problem going up to a woman and talking with them, explain it. You can find a way to like get into the conversation, be like, oh, do you know where, pretend like you're asking directions, or you could talk about if you do YouTube or something like that, or I'm really looking for someone to show me around. There's always a way to get into the conversation with somebody. It's not that difficult. Just don't be a creep about it. I think the other issue is a lot of guys are socially awkward. You can't be socially awkward in Brazil because this country is socially it's completely social. Like, people are just so openly social. They like chatting, they like going out, having a drink and things like that. So you really can't be, introverts would have a would have a tough time, I should say, with dating here. Unless you're okay with being by yourself, that's cool too. But I think if you're an introvert, you'd have trouble. Extroverts, wow, sky's the limit for you people. So those are my few takes on dating in Brazil. I'll have more things to talk about in the next video. I just didn't want to ramble on too much, but for you guys who are doubting the difference between girls here in Brazil and whatnot, it's so much more easier dating here and less hectic. You just have to also find that balance of, like, if the girl gets attached, what you're gonna do, because Brazilian women still, you know, human beings, right? Will like a person very much and try to move on the next step after dating a while. So but as long as you're straightforward with the woman here, you're gonna have no problem. I can't emphasize enough though, not a lot of women here speak English. It's just not that common like in other countries that you would go to, like in Europe or something like that, where a lot of people do speak English as a second language and fluently. So what would really help your game here, I know I've like repeated this in a few other videos, but this is specifically for dating and if you want to approach somebody, and because if they don't speak English, how the hell are you gonna like make a conversation? You're gonna be like sign language or whatever. So it really doesn't work. I would suggest taking up some lessons if you're planning on coming here, short term or long term. I think if you want to meet people, you have to learn some of the language. You will find people who do speak English, especially the younger crowds. But if you're looking to cold approach somebody or whatever, you're gonna have to learn at least beginner Portuguese. That would be my suggestion. So I hope this video wasn't too long for you guys. I just wanted to talk about a little bit of experience I have dating in Brazil. There will be another video about this, and I'll sort of break it down about some other topics when it comes to dating, cultural difference between states, because I've dated somebody also from the Amazonas, which is a little bit different than the Cariocas, which are the people in Rio. So if you guys have any questions and something that you really want to know about dating here, post in the comments below, and I'll do that in the next video, or I can respond to you directly from in the comments below if you'd like. So don't forget to hit the like button on the video if you enjoyed. If you're new to my channel, why not join and learn more about Brazil, living in Brazil. That's basically what I do. So I have a lot of fun videos, I have a lot of informative videos. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna head out now. It's a beautiful Saturday, still summer in Brazil. If you're planning on coming to Brazil, make sure you get here real soon. You will not regret it for sure. So take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Ciao.